I promised on the poster to disclose to you the secret of life. Once one discovers the secret of life, it's only decent of them to share it with other people, right? This is one of the biggest acorns I have recently discovered. Before I tell you what the secret of life is, though, I have to tell you some of its imposters, some of the motivations. The secret of life that I'm going to share with you is I know the motivation at the core level of every man in this room, without exception. That's pretty big information. Once you understand that, you can manage your life, you can see whose you are and who you are and act accordingly, right? But there are some imposters. Number one is that our motivation is the pursuit of money. The whole get what you can what you get, and sit on the can. Greed and envy are the two sides of the same coin of materialism. Rockefeller was asked, how much is enough? And his answer was, just a little bit more. Just an observation, in my experience, men of influence have a far less problem with this. Most of the guys I meet that have means and wherewithal have a sense of stewardship and understanding of the responsibility they have. It's under attack in America today, achievement's under attack, incentive is under attack, but in my experience, there aren't a lot of greedy, successful people that I've had interaction with. There's far more who have less but are still obsessed with the envy of others. Either way, it's off track, right? And it's going to be a motivation that's going to leave us empty. A second motivation is sex. You knew that was going to come up, right? We're told the lie that manhood is to be a sexual conqueror. My friend Brian said something 2 weeks ago when we were riding in the car that I just thought is so cool and so true and kind of funny. He quoted a friend of his that said, you know, if it wasn't for a woman, a man wouldn't do anything. And I thought maybe that's an exaggeration, but it might be closer to the truth than we'd like to admit. I want to tell you two quick stories. I met my wife Terry in a bar in LaCrosse. It was right around St. Patrick's Day. My pickup line was, Terry, are you Irish? I am smooth and I am sharp. And I knew her name was Terry because it said it on her jacket, her cheerleading jacket from high school she was wearing, and it said her name on it. That's a freshman mistake she's been paying for 40 years. That weekend I was playing in a basketball tournament. They used to have, I went to UW-LaCrosse, and UW-LaCrosse was hosting the championships of all the winners of the intramural basketball teams of all the state university schools. So it's kind of a big deal. It's pretty cool. I invited her Friday night to come watch me play basketball. And she showed up. And I put on a show. Literally, I dribbled over right in front of where she was sitting and just started. Fortunately, when we changed ends and she had to see me playing defense on the other end, it was not as great a show. But we won the tournament, and they had 12 trophies, and we only had 9 guys. So I took her out for dinner that night. I got an extra trophy from the award ceremony, and I gave it to her, and she literally is my trophy wife. Boy, I worked hard for that one, Richie. One more story, and I'm sure you have your own stories. Tom, you'll appreciate this. I took a 3-credit running class. Dr. Phil Eston was doing his doctorate work, and he wanted to compare specificity training with traditional track training. It involved doing a pre-test of your max VO2, which means that they strap you up so all the air that you breathe out goes into a bag, and then they measure how efficient you are with it. Then for 10 weeks, we ran our butts off. Best shape of my life. We're doing the post-test. The way they do it is they put you on a treadmill, they start speeding it up, and then they start raising the incline until you say, enough. Well, I'm ready to give out. I mean, I'm done, right? And a freshman kinesiology class that was 75% women walk into the kinesiology lab. Guess I wasn't done. Until they left. The third counterfeit is power. And control, I've discovered, is pride's handyman. Right? You don't know a proud man until you hear him bragging about himself, or you see somebody that needs to control everything. And that's a pretty good indication of what's going on. And you've run into people who are in love with the title and their position, that always want to be in charge or always in control and suck all the oxygen out of the room. And I thought of a picture. First of all, if you run into a man like that, you can be rest assured that he's covering up something, some insecurity. And the other thing that I realized is, first of all, before we're too high and holy, every one of us are influenced by the pursuit of money and materialism. Every one of us have made mistakes and been distracted because of our sexual misadventures. Every one of us, want to be in control and we share all of this together. But here's what happens in life. Picture Miss Pac-Man. We go through life chewing up relationships, chewing up people, because there's something missing inside of us that we need to fill. And there is no relationship, there's no spouse, there's no kids, there's no business partner, there's no mistress or girlfriend or kid, employees, bosses that are ever going to fill that hole that we want to be filled. So here's the secret of life. Every man's motivation is to be faithfully loved. That's what drives all of us. We want to be cared about. We want to be loved. We want to be consistently loved. We want to be known. We want it to be reliable, trustworthy, consistent. And the beauty of this is that only Jesus, who created us, is able to fill that because he put it there. And until we get that relationship right, we're going to be constantly restless, constantly not at peace, and we're always going to be looking to what I can get from somebody else to fill this great need I have. And the beauty of it is when you come to faith in Jesus, God says, I will never leave you or forsake you. I have given you all you need for life and godliness. I've removed your sin as far as the east is from the west. I'm making a mansion for you right now. He's with us, he's with us, he's with us. And when we get that right, the world comes alive, the squirrel can see, and I just encourage you and urge you to make that decision. And you're going to wonder, why does this matter? Why do I care about this? We care about this at Leading with Power for many reasons. First of all, your eternal fate is hinged on that. Your short-term success is hinged on that. And I'm going to tell you another secret, is we have a vision at Leading with Power of what it is we're trying to accomplish, and we need all hands on deck. We have a common mission. Leading with Power is not new. Leading with Power has been going on for 2,000 years. And you have great bloodlines. There are revolutionaries in your bloodlines. Jesus was, if nothing else, was a revolutionary. Peter and John in Acts 4, when they're changing the world and they're healing people and people are being added to the church, the religious leaders of the day looked at that, scratched their head and go, who are these idiots? They have not been to our school. All they could conclude is they had been with Jesus. In Acts 17, Paul and Silas are some of our forefathers, and I love this, and I want this to be the hallmark of Leading with Power. This is our mission. This is the vision of Leading with Power. When the people of the city found out that Paul and Silas had come to their town, this is what they said. The men who have turned the world upside down have come to our city. That's our calling. It's not to be bored. It's not to fill a seat. It's not to have a tip of the hat relationship with God. That's what I used to have. You know, go in, God should be glad I showed up for church. Throw $5 in the offering. Don't spend it all in one place. Give God a little something for the effort. And then go live like hell the other 6 days of the week. And wonder, think about this. If your children treated you that way, how would you feel? I hope that brings it home. So that's the secret. And my challenge that I want to conclude is this. You and I are either going to fully trust God or we're going to rely on ourselves. And if we partially trust God, we're fully relying on ourselves. And I want to tell you a closing story. Partial obedience is disobedience. Delayed obedience is disobedience. And I learned this from my dog. We had a Springer for 15 years. He was the greatest pet. He would have been a good hunter, Jim, but nobody took him hunting. And he would run with me. We ran through the West Hill of Chippewa for years and years and years. And here's how it went. I would run. I would say, stay. He would sit. I'd cross the street. I'd look both ways. I would call him and he would come, and we did this block after block after block, year after year after year, until one day. And I said, sit. And he sat. I started to cross. I looked both ways. I turned around to call him. He was sniffing on the hydrant. He was up at the bushes of the house. He was peeing on the front porch post. And by the way, we do that, don't we? And by the time he decided to come, I heard a screech of the tires, a car coming that had to slam on its brakes, and it slid to within this much of my beautiful English Springer. And that's when I learned how dangerous it is to wait, how dangerous it is to try to figure it out for ourselves, and how deadly that can really be. And so I learned that from my lesson from my dog, and I pass that on to you. So that's my challenge to you. Are you going to completely trust God, or are you going to continue to partially trust Him and rely on yourself?